let me take a time to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, those of you viewing GBN TV. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Should I say it again? Good morning to one and all, especially those of you via social media platforms around the world, whether it's the Facebook page or YouTube channels. Good morning to you. Welcome once again. It's To The Point. It's Tuesday. It's the 28th day of April 2026. I'm your host, GT, with you this morning. We will be with you for the next hour. Yeah, just about a minute after. So let's round it off to about 59 minutes or so left on today's program. You know, it's Opposition Tuesday on today's edition of To The Point. And we have a representing the opposition this morning. We have Mrs. Noleen Thompson with us this morning. I always with the names, eh? No, Miss Noleen Thompson. Let's wish her good morning. Good morning to you, Ms. Thompson. How are you this morning? And welcome to The Point once again. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Good morning. Good morning to you, and good morning to our listening audience and to those who are viewing as well.
Well, you know, it's the last time I had you on the program. Was it sometime last year, right? Was it?
Yes,
sometime last year.
When I was a caretaker, yeah.
When you were a caretaker. So we the last time, as I mentioned, we had you from the caretaker stage. Now you have evolved just a wee bit. You are now, of course, the candidate running for St. David's, of course, representing the new National Party. Talk to me about the feeling, the transition you have made now. How has it been, you know, in that political realm that you're in right now? How has it been for you thus far?
I would say it has been extremely humbling, but most eye-opening. It hasn't been easy because every single day you are confronted with some real people carrying their real burdens. But I would say it has also strengthened my purpose. I came into this to serve, not just to sit back, but to act. And what I've seen over the past year has only deepened my commitment to fight for better for the people of St. David's.
All right. Now, as it's typically going back in the same direction, you know, from caretaker now to, of course, the individual who's going to be the candidate. What are some of the biggest struggles you have seen thus far in the constituency? And you think, in your opinion, you think, hey, this needs urgent attention?
I would say for me is the access to health care. Also cost of living. I mean, it's something that we hear every single day, the struggles of family with the cost of living. And I would say also the lack of real opportunities for young people. We have families who are stretched thin. You know, people have to choose between, you know, purchasing food, medication, transportation. And Grenadians are very proud. You may not have people on the streets, you know, saying that, oh, I'm struggling and shouting that they're struggling. But they are, you know, struggling every single day and they're just being quiet about it. So for me, the biggest struggle is the cost of living and access to healthcare, especially access to healthcare. I have so many stories of people that I meet on a day-to-day basis who lacks the funding and the financing to access specific you know, things like ultrasounds or mammograms or x-rays. So it you know, people are choosing between, you know, their health or not having any money. So for example, I met a young woman who did surgery on her breast, and she didn't have the money to go to do the mammogram and the ultrasound that is required. So she missed the date of her follow-up appointment because she didn't have the money to do it. So these are real issues that are facing the people in the community. And, you know, we need to have a clear path forward.
You spoke in relation to healthcare, cost of living. Let's go back to the constituency once again. What is that conversation you are getting a whole lot, especially from constituency, you know, in relation to healthcare, the cost of living, medication, transportation, especially the elderly who may want to go to clinic, even the younger folks who may be, of course, incapacitated for some reason or the other, they want to go to clinic, access to doctors, etc. What are those conversations you're hearing from constituents a whole lot?
There are limited support systems. You know, the reality is it's not reaching the people who need them most. And most families right now don't even know where to turn. And those who cannot afford the services, you know, so you have people every single day, looking for ways out, looking for assistance in some way. So, we have families who feel that they're struggling alone, and that is the sentiment I'm getting constantly, that they're struggling alone, that no one is there willing to listen to them, no one is hearing their plight, and I think that's where I come in. And because for me, I spend a lot of time being out there listening to the people, understanding what their needs are. And I will tell you the truth, some nights I can't even sleep. Some nights I'm thinking, I wake up and I start thinking, there's a family who reached out to me who, and I will tell you, I cannot help everyone. I cannot. But there are some situations that I see as dire. And I will be up at night trying to figure out, what can I do to help this family, or what can I do to help this person? And if I, who is not even, an MP, because I'm out there seeing people, understanding and listening to them. If I can't sleep already, it means that who are the people who are there? Are they able to sleep knowing that there are people out there who are struggling to pay their bills, struggling, to access healthcare or support for their families, So it is a struggle out there. And as much as, some people might say that it isn't. Now, if you say that it isn't, that is totally up to you. But from me being out there every single day, I see a different reality.
Let me ask you this. You spoke of a lot of all the challenges that you hear from constituents. I'm being focused specifically to your constituency that you are, of course, the candidate for. Is it what you expected coming into this political realm as it stands right now? Is it what you expected?
To be quite honest, sometimes in your life, you spend a lot of time doing your own thing. You're in your own lane. Remember, I'm a mom. I have a business, and as much as I would, my mom, she'd come to me and she would say, Noleen, there's a family that I need you to assist, and I will do it. But the truth is, I never understood how dire it is as I go through the communities. So there's a lot of people out there who may not. It's not it's to them. It may not be their business to care about what is happening to other people in their communities. But when you're a person in my situation, as a person who's looking to represent and to serve, you see a need that you never saw before. And I am in communities and the truth is, I've been in communities that I didn't even know exist. You on your day-to-day living, you don't go around in every community. But when you go out in the communities, and St. David's have 52 villages, and when you go out to these villages, you realize that things are not as it seems. It's masked. It appears that it's perfect sometimes, but it really truly isn't.
All right. Your everyday commute through the various villages within the constituency, as you speak about, it's really appalling to you, as you spoke about a while ago, in terms of the situation you see individuals are living under. Would you say that has made you turn out to be folks who is more wanting to help a lot more individuals than maybe that you were more than before?
On a day-to-day basis, I help lots of families. Sometimes, you have the people telling you, don't showcase what you're doing. And the truth is, I do not showcase half of the things that I do on a daily basis. There are families every single day that reach out to me. And I tell you, you may think that it's not dire, but it is actually dire out there. And every single person that I meet, I want to help. Every single one that I meet. Because, for example, there was a gentleman that my team went out and they reached out to me to tell me, you know what, you need to come see this person. And I've been in the village before, but I wasn't on that side of the village. And when they went out, they called me and said, you have to come. And I went. And this is a gentleman that cannot walk. He's dragging on the floor, and he had no step. The step, I couldn't even walk. I brought some stuff for him, and my weight on that step, I didn't even trust going up on that step. And I made a commitment at that time. Because this gentleman doesn't have in the washroom or a toilet or bathroom. So he has to come outside every day to use a bucket to shower. And he has to come down that step. And I'm telling you, there were missing places on that step. And I couldn't go home and feel comfortable knowing that there's someone living in that condition. So I called around, and I got the materials to get the stuff for the gentleman, and I was able to get the step built for him. There are just so much. There, groceries. You have families that they have 2 working parents. And another thing I want to raise, there's a lot of people who are not speaking, who are not getting paid. I have so many people reaching out to me who would say that they've done 3, 4 fortnights. I have a young lady since October last year. She's been working. I'm not going to say where she's working, but she's working for government. She submitted all her invoices and she sent them to me. And up to today, she has not received payment. So she has to go, and it's not even a lot of money. It's $800, $900 a month, $100 for transportation. And since October last year, that young woman has not received a salary. And she's expected to go out to work every single day. Now, how is that fair? And the thing is, they are so scared to talk about it, because if they talk about it, they're scared that they will lose the little job that they have. So the expectation is, I will get the money. The money will come. They tell me, well, it's gonna come, it's gonna come. I met a young man, cutting the grass. He said 4 fortnights. He has his kids getting ready to go back to school for this last term. And he didn't know where he was going to get the money to send his children back to school on the Monday. Now, how fair is that? Now, if you are going in the community as a representative every single day, and you're seeing it, because if I am seeing it, you're seeing it. And if you're not acting to help these people, it means that you just really don't care. Or unless your bandwidth is so wide that you don't have it anymore, right? So I come back to say, there's a lot of people out there who are struggling, who don't have the money, who are not getting paid, and they're living in dire situations and circumstances. And we need to do better. We have to do better for the people. We have to do better. These are people who elected members to represent them, to stand for them, to serve. And yet, these are the people who are being neglected.
All right. Now, let me also ask you this. What practical changes would make a life a lot easier? You spoke about all these individuals, especially the vulnerable families and so forth, who are carrying that heavy burden and are doing so quietly. What are those practical changes you foresee that could happen in the immediate that could help them, of course, make life a whole lot easier?
I will say it again. If you are a representative for a people and your purpose is to serve, you have to listen. People, if you go out and people will tell you what their needs are. So you have to be able to listen and to create policies, create whatever it is that you need to do in order to get these people the support that they need. But I think a lot of times we don't have the time to listen to what people needs are. So I would say, to be quite honest, I don't want to go into all sort of economic ways that you can do it. I think it starts with being a great listener, listening to the people first, understanding what their needs are, and then working to support them.
And that's practically where it starts. That's what you think. That's where it starts.
I believe that's where it starts. Because if you don't, I mean, the truth is, if you sit in an office and you try to figure out what you can do, then it may not apply to everybody. But if you go around and you listen to people, then you know where to start. So the first practical term is to listen, understand what the needs are, and then you implement whatever it is and execute whatever it is that you need to ensure that people, their lives are sustained.
All right. As long as we due for a break, let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the short break.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Right Choice Promotion presents Lyrics and Laughter, the ultimate pre-Mother's Day show. It's coming to the Grenada Trade Center on Sunday, May the 3rd from 5 p.m. Get ready for an evening of non-stop comedy, sweet Caribbean vibes, and pure entertainment. From Trinidad and Tobago, the funniest man in the region, Errol Fabian.
She said not even my shoes, I said no.
Humorous Calypsonians, Trinidad Rio.
Going back to basics.
And the Calypso princess herself, Kareen Ashe from the Spice Isles. 2 decades of legend, Randy Isaac, Little Reds, plus local comedy king, Robert White, Dillian Walters, Fat Man George, and Kareem Alexis. Delivering lyrical mastery, 11-time Calypso Monarch scholar. All backed by the Heatwave Band, with special musical treats from Lyndon Langdon on sax and Jaleli Moses on violin. It's lyrics, it's laughter, it's music, it's vibes. Tickets just $75. Available now at gotofed.com and other outlets island-wide. Treat mom, treat your partner, treat yourself. Lyrics and laughter. Sunday, May the 3rd, 5 p.m. Grenada Trade Center. Don't miss it. Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A-game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Let's say welcome back, of course, to, we have Noleen Thompson with us this morning. Of course, it's Opposition Tuesday, of course, and she's representing the New National Party. She's there, of course, the candidate representing the New National Party in the parish of St. David. Of course, Ms. Thompson, welcome back once again. I want to get into the young people of the constituency. You know, young people is of course, the generation today that we have to pay a lot of attention to. What are young people in the constituency saying now, of course, in terms of what they need most right now? We're talking jobs, skills, mentorship, the real opportunities out there for young people. What are those conversations you're having with young people within the constituency?
Young people are asking for opportunity. They're asking for real opportunity, not just training, but a clear path to a job, to a business, to their future. You know, they want to know that their efforts are actually leading somewhere. And I believe that, you hear people saying all the time that, young people, they don't want work and, they're just lazy. And the truth can be for some, but most of the young people that I meet, they're asking for opportunity. And I'll tell you about a young man that I met recently. And people probably think I always have stories, but the truth is you have to tell people's actual experiences so that people can connect to understand that these are real people living real experiences. So I met the young man, and I met him before, but I went back and I saw him again, and it was a bunch of them. And he came to me, and his request was, he already has a business, and the business is doing really well, but he's paying rent. And he wanted to not pay rent anymore because a lot of the money is going to rent. He wanted to expand his business. So he got a piece of land close by, and he went to the GDB to access a loan. Now, this young man ran up, down, got every single thing that they asked him to get. And by the way, the loan is not more than $40,000. It's less than $40,000. And he was, at the end of all of that, running up, down, doing everything, paying everything, he was told he needed a security. He needed someone to stand security for him. Now, he came to me asking me if I know anyone who will be able to stand security for him. What are we doing to our young people who are looking for opportunities, who need real opportunities, and who are working hard? So less than $40,000, and he needs security. How many other young people are going to places like GDB looking for a startup, and they're asked to give a security? How many families are able to do that? So right off the bat, you have young people extremely frustrated because they do not have the means. So what do I tell this young man? No, I cannot stand security for him. But who do I go and ask to stand security for a young man? Why does it have to be so difficult for our young people? But the other side of this is I met a gentleman who is willing to stand security for 10 young people who have small business ideas. And he deposited the money in the bank, showed them that he has the money, and yet for these 10 young people, they did not get the loan either. So you have a young man who can't get it because he doesn't have a security, and you have 10 other young people who has someone to stand in security, and they still didn't get it. What do you want these young people to do? Go out and steal? Hang out on the block every day? When you frustrate young people all the time, what happens? What do you want them to do? So we have to look at these policies that we have in place, all these red tape. They can, in my mind, this young man has a track record. He has a business, and a successful business as it is. Can't you use the success of his business to give him that loan without a security? What do we want our young people to do?
Let me ask you this. And probably you could share your thoughts of that. From time to time we hear about of governments, implementing a lot of, training programs from time to time. Would you say are these training programs connected to actual jobs? Are we training young people without a clear path to employment? Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Too often they're not. I mean, we are training people, but we're not always connecting that training to employment. And again, that disconnect is frustrating our young people, and it's wasting their potential. You have, and I believe you have young people. Well, first of all, when a young person applies for a job, you have a lot of businesses asking for experience. So you train these young people, you give them the CVQ or whatever it is that you give them, without proper internship placements where they have limited experiences and you expect them to do well. How would a young person with just a CVQ go out and have to look for a job for themselves? It is the responsibility of the placement. And I believe, and that is something that I want to do in St. David's. I want to have a vocational institution where young people are able to be placed right away in an internship. So they have the experience right off the bat. So if you have a program, let's say 6 months of the program, you have theory, but you have to have mandatory training where you actually learn the skill and you apply the skill. And then it's our responsibility as a vocational institute to find a placement on the job training. So you send them to do a placement so they can, so it happened to me. And I'm going to say that back in Canada, I studied journalism. And I was sent in my last term to intern. And I interned at the first Black radio station in the country, Flow 93.5. And even before I collected my certificate at the end, guess what? I was hired. I was hired because I interned there and that was my placement. And because I worked so hard, they hired me. I was the first one out of my entire group of graduates in that program who got hired off my placement. So it works. So if you have on-the-job training for young people and not just give them a certificate and send them out and say, okay, go and you can go now and find a job. I think this is the next step for us, is to ensure that when we have young people and they finish their training, that you have a guaranteed spot for them to intern. And that gives them the opportunity to be hired by whoever it is that they would have done the internship with.
All right. You know, you speak with passion in connected to young people. Now, in your commute around the parish of St. David's, how severe is the unemployment among young people within the constituency? Tell me, how severe it really is?
It is severe because if you just look at the electoral list for St. David's, unemployment is number one. In St. David's, based on your electoral list, when you have people have to choose their career or their job is, and unemployment is number one. That alone should tell you something. Unemployment is number one. So it's not just young people, it's everybody. It's a problem in our constituency. There's a lot of people without jobs in St. David's. And we have to change that. We have to build and stimulate the St. David's economy. If you look at Intercontinental and Six Senses, I think they probably are the largest employer in St. David's. I mean, if you pass in Lassages, in the morning or in the evening, you see how much people there. Over 400 Grenadians. Not just people from St. David's, but from people from everywhere. What else do we have in St. David's to keep our young people in St. David's and not have them look to go elsewhere?
So how do we reach young people who are especially those who are not in school, who are not working, and individuals who are young people who may have felt for some way or the other, they felt forgotten? How do we reach these young people?
We go to them. Young people are different, and you have to go in spaces where they feel the most comfortable. But you have to also listen. You can't be talking down to them. You can't be lecturing to them. Because sometimes we forget ourselves and we want to lecture to young people, not understanding that they have their own vices. So you have to sit and build trust and then create the opportunities that they can step into. But we have to listen and we have to build trust. A lot of young people will tell me that they don't trust politicians. Every single day, I will tell you that I go out. That's what they will say. They don't trust politicians because politicians will come, they will say one thing now, and then next minute they change their mind. Everybody's the same. All politicians are the same. Every single time, I can tell you, I go out there, they will tell you that they don't trust politicians. Why? Because we make promises that we can't keep. We don't listen. And I believe that the change we need is to sit and really, and I can't say that enough or stress it enough. We have to sit and we have to listen. And once we hear what it is that they need, then, only then, we are able to provide what it is that they require for their future, for their stability. We have to listen and we have to build trust. We have to sit with them and build trust with them.
All right. Of course, we don't be due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We come in right back with much more. Don't touch it dial.
Before the digital age, before the world moved at the speed of a click, there was a signal connecting a nation. In 1986, a journey in broadcasting began in Grenada, a journey that would grow into a trusted voice across the country. For 40 years, through radio and television, we've been there for the stories that shaped our nation, the news that mattered, the voices that informed us, the moments that brought us together. Your stories, your voices, your moments. The Grenada Broadcasting Network, 40 years strong, one nation, one network.
Get ready for the mother of all bingos, because Sunday, May 17th, the entire nation will be heading to the National Cricket Stadium for the massive Mega Force promotions, Cars and Cash Mega Bingo. It all goes down from 5 p.m. and this year you can win not one, not two, but 3 hybrid cars. We're talking a Suzuki Ignis, a Subaru XV, and a Honda Vissel. But that's not all. You can also get a chance to win $30,000 in cash. Grab your tickets now, $60 for one or $100 for two. And did I mention free buses will be available island-wide? This is the event no one should miss. Sunday, May 17th, Cars and Cash Mega Bingo. National Cricket Stadium, we're coming. Brought to you by Caribbean. It's the way we play.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, especially those of you via, of course, on online platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you once again. Nice to have you with us this morning. Welcome back. I'm Mr. Thompson. Welcome back once again to the program here on Classic Radio GBN TV. It's To the Point. My next line of question, and I want to ask you this, because you spoke a whole lot in our previous segment about, the activities within the constituency, from unemployment among the youths and so forth, the struggles that individuals within the community are facing. How can government and especially other community leaders create more economic activities within the constituency, especially within the parish of St. David's? That's our main focus in terms of we're focusing on as a constituency and a parish this morning. How can government and especially community leaders, etc., create that more economic and activities inside those constituencies that you spoke a whole lot in terms of St. David's, as I mentioned, we're focusing on?
We have to invest, I believe, in local production. We have to support our small businesses, as I mentioned before. It's important to support our small businesses. And for me, tourism is also very important, like agriculture. So we have to be able to create linkages between sectors like agriculture and tourism. Because right now, as I said earlier with St. David's, the money isn't circulating within the community. It's just passing through. Why is it that we have our vendors and our farmers in St. David's? And I'm sorry that you asked me about other constituencies as well, but I think it might be similar. But let me just focus on St. David's for a minute. Why is it that our farmers in St. David's and our vendors who provide, the spices and stuff like that, why do they have to leave St. David's? And we are a large constituency, to go either to Grenville or to go to town, right? The money is not circulating in St. David's at that point. We have a hotel, for example. We have Six Senses in St. David's. And I know for a fact that you have visitors who want local items to return, to give gifts to their families and friends. And they have to leave Six Senses in St. David's to drive either to Grand Anne's or to town to get the items. It's not no one in St. David's. We haven't thought of what to do in St. David's with that. And I know that they talked about it. There are places it's been talked about, but it's not happening. You have the same people in the hotel looking for a local restaurant because they sometimes want to go out and eat something different. And they will have to drive again from St. David's to go to either Grand Anne's or town. So right there again, the money is not circulating within our community. So we have to invest in our local production and invest and support our small businesses. Because we have them. We have people who are, I know a lot of people in St. David's who have their small businesses. But it's not they're not staying. There's nothing that we've created for them in St. David's to give them the opportunity that they feel comfortable and confident that the merchandise will be sold. And another thing I want to talk about in all of that, so many of our vendors as well, and this is something that I'm really passionate about. So many of our vendors have the same product, just a different label. How many nutmeg? How many spice? How many? And you will see that in the market. If you, as a person who's also in tourism, I will take one of my clients to the market, for example, the vendors market in town, and everybody's calling you, come here, come here, come here. Everybody wants you to buy something, but when you look, everybody have the same thing. So who do you go to? So you're trying to know, like, well, okay, well, and people that want bargain. Okay, well, can you give me this for that? Can you give me that for that? So right there, they have to take a markdown, right? Lower the cost because they want to compete they don't want the other vendor to get the sale. So they're going to say, okay, well, I can give you 2 for $5. Yeah? Why is it that we don't encourage our vendors, our small businesses, and educate our small businesses? We need to have, I believe we need to have some sort of specific training, that if someone is interested in a small business, that they have a specific training to say, have you looked at the market? Have you done a competitive analysis? Do you know who your competitors are? Do you know what products they sell? Right? You have, for example, a guy selling corn on the side of the road. And then 2 weeks later, people see that the man is selling his corn and the man have a lot of people in front. And guess what? Somebody come right next to him selling the same corn. Right? Now, if this guy is selling corn, and if I am smart, I would say, you know what, corn could be a dry thing. It could choke you sometimes. Maybe I need to have some local juice, or I have to have or have some coconut water. So instead of me going and put up another corn stand right next to the man with the corn, let me have a juice stand. So when somebody buy the corn, they can also buy a bottle of juice, or they can buy a bottle of coconut water. Right? So it's educating our small businesses as well. That will create economic activity, because now it's not just me competing with someone else who's selling the same thing. It's me now having an add-on. So when someone comes and they buy the corn, someone could buy some coconut water, somebody could buy something totally different. And not all of us vying to sell the corn. So all of these are things that we need to look at when we, to train our small businesses so that they can actually make money.
All right. Let me ask you this. After 1 year now of listening and walking through the constituency, what is that one issue that you believe that cannot wait another year?
I would say access to healthcare. We cannot accept that people are suffering quietly and in some cases unnecessarily. I went to the hospital yesterday and to visit someone, and the stories that I'm hearing, and it's not just, it's something that you always hear it. And it's sad, it's extremely sad that people are not able to access proper health care and they have to wait. I mean, we can't wait another year for a young woman who has an abscess in her behind that is oozing, that uncomfortable, a young woman in her 20s have to deal with that. And she cannot get a proper diagnosis. She cannot get, and by the way, the young woman who we did the mammogram for, who I got to do the mammogram, do you know up to today, it's been a month, she hasn't gotten the results yet. And this young woman, her breast is still leaking. And up to today, she needs the mammogram results and the blood tests in order to go back to do the follow-up. And up to today, every single day, my mom is calling to try to get the results for that mammogram, and she still hasn't received it. What are we waiting for? For her to die before we decide that's important? Too many of our people are suffering in silence. Too many of our people are suffering quietly. And we cannot accept it anymore. We cannot accept it anymore. We cannot wait another year. We cannot wait another 3 years. We cannot wait for a hospital to be built when we have people who are dying now, who requires the equipment now, who requires the service now. So based on your question, I would say, for me, with everything else, it has to be access to healthcare.
All right. We're getting into this segment of the program where we'll invite our listeners and viewers out there, if they do have a question or two they may like to ask. I beg of you, callers, to please be brief in your contribution this morning. Just ask a question and move on so we can accommodate as many callers as possible. We have approximately about 13 minutes or so left on the program. Before we go to the callers, there's something thrown out by someone via the WhatsApp, and I want to get your feedback on this. And they're saying that the story pertaining to the young man and the GDB, they're saying it's a little bit unbelievable, not believable per se. And the individual saying they're a banker themselves, and if he's wanting to buy land, and the said land could be used as collateral, you understand?
No, he doesn't need to buy land. He doesn't need to buy land.
But you said he has land.
He already has the land.
Yes.
So all he needs, yes, he already has the land. All he needs is to construct the building.
All right.
So he's looking for the money to construct the building, not to buy land.
Okay, that part is clear. So if there's also asking now, in addition, you said that the individual said that his business is doing well. All right, and they're saying that if the evidence of the financial statements and so forth in terms of deposit on account, that could be used to collaborate in terms of helping them to get the loan. If you understand where that question is coming from.
The person who is asking that, they can reach out to me, and if what they're saying is accurate, I have the young man's contact. If he really wants to help that young man to get that loan, then he can reach out to me, and we can help him together. So, counteracting the person's story is not going to help him. What will help him is if he has the understanding and the knowledge and he's been a banker, then call me, let us meet the young man, and let's help him get that loan.
All right. The lines are now open, 435-2041, 435-2041. Let's go to our first caller, and it's via the WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you and your listening public. I am calling this morning to publicly show my full support for Noleen Thompson. That's the NMP candidate for St. David. I've been watching her closely, and I must say, she is hard-working, humble, and dedicated. She's a dedicated woman. She's always, I know, amongst the people, for sure, I know in St. David, and they're listening to her. She's helping, and they're understanding, and she's also understanding their struggle. I listened to her speak this morning, and what she's saying is just about the same thing I'm about to say. She's not waiting for election time to show up her presence. Every single day, I know that she's out there with the people. And as you know that, and all of us know that, coming up against a certain prime minister is not easy. But I know for sure Noleen is strong, she's confident, she's ready. She is coming from the back, as I always say, back of the line. And she's moving steadily to the front. Because why? The people are seeing her heart and her commitment, as we often will say. And I will say St. David deserves representation that is accessible. Caring, and you heard she talking about caring this morning, and fearless. I believe Noleen Thompson has the ability, the passion, you could hear it in her voice, and of course the team behind her to deliver real representation.
All right, caller. Caller, give you another 10 seconds. Give you another 10 seconds to wrap, please.
I just want to encourage the people of St. David to stay focused, stay united, and give the sister a full chance. As we say, leadership is about service, and she has shown that she is ready to serve. And I want to say thank you very much for giving me that time.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. We do have another caller. Caller via the direct line. Good morning, your life. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Telesford. Greeting. Can you confirm that your guest can hear me?
Yeah, she's hearing you. Go right ahead,
Very
please.
well, great. Listen, here's where we differ, Mr. Telesford. First of all, before I go quickly, let me say that. To the sister, your guest's name is Thompson, is it? Yes. She's not a candidate. I wish that we'd put words in the proper context. she becomes a candidate when the electoral authority accepts and approves her application, the day of the nomination. Until then, she's the pre-candidate, please, just for the meticulous nature of my presentations. Now, here we go. I have heard all this. You know, the lady is speaking a lot of very useful things there. She's speaking some truth. As for the healthcare in the system, how I've been suffering and others. But it seems to be this policy. It was not only because of the Creboja. It's because they really don't care. But the thing is, Mr. Thompson, Miss Thompson, Mr. Telesford, we've heard this before. And nothing is changing. They came with all intentions the last time to change things, to transform. Look, as I make them tell you from logic, transformation is only when you can enhance your maintenance of what you have, while you work towards a total transformation or a new outlook through reformation. And we're not getting that because they're too bright and they don't listen to Crebojas like me. But here is this, Miss Thompson. I appreciate your efforts. I wish you good luck. One day I should pass by me like we talk, quote unquote. But hear this. I want to know what you represent in the sense of your ideology, what you believe in, what sort of principles, basic and fundamental, you put forward to the people as relates to your political, economic, and social policies for the future. That's what I want to know. Where you stand as it relates to ideology. This is how I will know you, because I'm not prepared to accept a continuation. For instance, I want to hear your outlook on the transformation of the constitutional architecture of this country. We have failed miserably because the whole colonial system chips in every time with all intentions. Nothing changes because it falls back to the same old colonial system that we're living in. When did we know in this country, I'll end here, that the constitution of this country has never created a status of political independence for us? These are the things I want to hear. Thank you very much for what it's worth. Do have a nice day, will you?
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Respond to the call, Ms. Thompson.
So he said for me to pass the seam. I passed the seam already, you know, but he probably forgot. But let the caller know that I do intend to pass the seam again, and we can definitely have a conversation about everything that he listed there. So I give you my commitment that I will pass the seam.
All right. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. A WhatsApp caller.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to Miss Noleen.
Good morning.
How you doing, man? Over the last months, we have a couple crime against women, right? Some gruesome crime against women. Even this morning, Miss Daisy Hazard was on a program, and she talked about people posting stuff about her being a woman union leader. It seems like people don't respect her. Now, I'm saying that, and reading all the comments on Facebook about, you know, the NDP candidates with women, and the out of nonsense people post towards women. Now, in our circle, we have this thing where workers, you hear some petty bourgeois say, well, when a woman have 3 or 4 children and she cannot take care of it, you hear they say, who tell her to make all her children? She didn't realize she can't take care of it. Now, when we look at our schools right now, we have no children. Our schools are empty because the people that make children, people come down on them and say, you know what, who tell you going to make? Now, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, in your administration, if you want to take office, I want them to put things in place to support women in this country so they can take care of their kids and make children and grow the children in the right way, because we need children in the schools. We don't want to come on people who are making children. We have to support them, because they go out there and push out a child and bear all that problems to grow up a child. Instead, we support them when you come against them. I wish that you guys would put things in place if you win the next election to support our women in this country so that they can have a better life. Have a nice day, man.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Anyone to respond to the caller in any way?
Yeah. What he says, it's excellent. I'm not sure. Recently, I did a video where I talked about women and maternity leave, because that is also something that is very dear to me. I have 3 children. And my first 2 children, well, all my children were born outside of Grenada, because as you know that I lived in Canada for a very long time. And maternity leave for me in Canada was 12 months. So, and I had cesarean sections. So I've had 3 cesarean sections. And just imagine when a woman has a cesarean section, you have a cut. I mean, they cut through your everything, your abdominal muscles, everything you cut through. The healing, the outside may heal, let's say in 3 months, but the inside takes a while to heal. So sometimes you can't even stretch. Sometimes you can't even bend. So just imagine a woman giving birth through a cesarean section. You can't cough, you can't sneeze. The pain is just so terrible. And then they ask you to breastfeed. Breast is best. And you want a mom to breastfeed as long as possible. Yet in Grenada, a woman is only allowed 3 months maternity leave. And within that 3 months, you have to prepare yourself to go back to work. You have to prepare your child to put them in daycare or leave them at home with someone. It means that you have to wean that child, and force that child to take a bottle. For me, my first son never took a bottle. Never. No matter how we tried every nipple, every type of formula, he never took a bottle. My son breastfed for 3 years. So think about mothers. You have to deal with postpartum depression. You have to deal with healing mentally and physically. And you are told you're only allowed 3 months to heal and to get your child ready to be away from you. And you have mothers, breasts engorged, glands under their arms, going off to work. I remember me, I used to pray I get to my baby. If I went to an appointment, pray that my baby will breastfeed, because you feel like if your breast is gonna explode. And you're asking these moms to return to work in 3 months. Now, as a mother and as a woman, I understand that. And I know that, and I'm going to put my political leader on pause here. But I know that one of the things that I will be fighting for once we're elected into office is to ensure that mothers have the time to recuperate and to spend with the most formative years of their babies. And 3 months is not enough. We have to start at least, I would say, 6 months. A mom needs at least 6 months, and that's what I'll be fighting for.
All right. We do have another caller. Can you be a bit time stricken this morning? We do have another caller via the WhatsApp. Let's take maybe our final caller for the morning, and we'll have a couple more on hold, but we may not be able to accommodate because of time. We have something else to go to the station which comes up at the top of the hour. So let's take this caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. WhatsApp caller, good morning. I don't think the caller is ready for us. Let's try this caller. Caller via the direct line. Good morning. You ready? Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, GT. How are you this morning?
Doing
good. Good morning to Miss Noleen. Welcome. A question I have to ask Miss Noleen. When you go out in the field, do you do statistics, like do records of how long is this gentleman you talked about dragging and a step? How long is he in this position? And how long has employment in St. David been a major concern? Serious concern. And there is no politicians, not Deacon Mitchell, not even if you've been selected as the next MP for St. David, can turn around thing in 1 term or in 2 terms. It wouldn't happen. It would not happen. And for the past 6 years or so, if these things and them has been going on, that there was a start in those areas I hear you speak about, which is good idea in St. David. You think for the past 6, 7, 8 years, if these things had started, it wouldn't be in a better position? St. David would not have been in a better position that it is right now? I think most of the things have to be blamed for the past MP for St. David, not Deacon Mitchell, not the present MP for St. David. He can never change around St. David in 1 or 2 terms. Never. And even if you was the MP, you would not do it. You cannot do it. So all you have good ideas and so very well, but trust me, and I believe some of the ideas you have, if the past opposition had implemented some of it, trust me, St. David's or Grenada would be in a better place. So good luck to you, and kudos to the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, because he's doing a wonderful job. He's not Jesus Christ, but good luck, all the best.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thompson, respond, and then we get some closing remarks from you this morning.
So I would want the caller to understand that Noleen Thompson is not the past administration. Noleen Thompson is Noleen Thompson. And Noleen Thompson has been the caretaker, and as Mr. Rulo said, pre-candidate, I've only been in this position for the past year. So I can only talk about the things that I will do or what I have observed. Now, she talked about the current MP, and I'm saying if the current MP is there and if I am observing it now, so I cannot talk about what happened in the past 6 years because I was not there, right? But I am now here, and I am the one who is seeing what is happening, and I have the ideas of how we can fix it. I am not saying that it can fix in a year or in 4 years, but if I'm seeing it, it means that our current MP is seeing the same thing. If I was able to go in that village and saw a man dragging on the ground, it means that I saw the man dragging on the ground and I decided that I needed to do something for him, right? So if we have MPs who are going around and who are, there, as they say, to serve, then they would see the same things that I'm seeing. And if you are currently in government and you have the resources, I don't have the resources. I use my own money to pay for that man to get that step. And if you have the resources and you are currently in government, you are seeing the same thing I'm seeing because you're walking the same places I'm walking. So it's not about who did what when, it's about what I can do now and what my plans will be. So you have to judge me on what I have done or what I would do. You cannot judge me on what has been done in the past. And I don't really care about what has happened in the past or what hasn't happened in the past. I care about what is happening now and what I can do now to help these people. If I had the resources, because the amount of people that I've already helped, if I had the resources, trust me, there will be a lot more people in St. David's who would get the help that they deserve. So please don't paint me with the same brush as old candidates or old MPs. I am not the old MP. I am Noleen Thompson, the future MP.
All right. Ms. Thompson, anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning? It's always a pleasure having you on the program. Everything in closing before you take a wrap? We take a wrap this morning?
So I would like to say thank you so much for all the people who have continually support me. The people of St. David's who have been so welcoming to me. You guys have been patient. You guys have endured. You guys have had promises that sounded really good, but it didn't change your daily reality. And I am not perfect. I'm not claiming to be perfect, but I am coming to you, people of St. David's, with commitment. You've seen me act. I don't just talk, I act. And you've seen that I'm committed. So all I ask for you to do is not just vote for me, but I want you to be a partner with me so that we can build St. David's together.
Well, once again, Ms. Thompson, I want to thank you a whole lot for being on the program this morning. It's a pleasure having you. Of course, I hope we could have another session like this again. Until then, have a great day, what's left of it, and a great week what's for the rest of the week to come.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank who contributed to today's program. Thank you so much. Join me again for another edition. That's what we say goodbye.